Yes, it's a pain in the ass weighing out your food. But you know what else is a pain in the ass? Being 250 pounds, morbidly obese and unhappy. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are new here, my name is Byron Ovenstone. For those of you who've been here before, thank you very much for joining us again. Righty guys, today I've got the trusty whiteboard because I realized something. We haven't really dived into macronutrients at all. We've kind of gone high level with it, but we haven't really gone all in and really kind of broken things down for you and kept it as simple as possible. So I figured today I'm going to do like a 3-part series in this where we do fitness, nutrition, and mindset. We'll start off with the nutrition piece because I think that's the one where most people lack the most, or most people have the most misconceptions. They struggle the most because, let's be honest, man, you go into the YouTubes, the Googles, the Instagrams, the wherever, and you will see contradicting messages after contradicting messages. One person says do keto, one person says do carnivore, one person says go vegan, one says eat all the carbs, one says eat no carbs. It's just a mess, right? What I go for and what I coach my guys to do is sustainability. I want you to be able to do whatever you like doing and get a result off the back of it. And in doing so, you're going to sustain that and be able to do that for a prolonged period of time. It's easy to crash diet, right? I could tell you now, hey man, for the next 30 days, only eat fucking watermelon. And you could suffer your way through it, but it's not sustainable. So yes, in 30 days, you might have lost a fuck ton of weight. And I'm not telling you to do this. This would be fucking stupid. But let's say you did something along these lines. Yes, you would lose a ton of weight. But the minute you reintroduce all of the other foods back again, everything goes to shit and it's all fucked up again. Doesn't make sense. I would much rather see you guys do a method that maybe takes a little longer and is a little bit slower. But in doing so, it's sustainable to where 90 days, 180 days, 3 years from today, you're still able to run the play because it's something that you've been able to implement into your day-to-day life and it's not making you sacrifice too much. Now, is there sacrifice? Of course there is. You have to sacrifice. You can't think that you're going to eat ice cream every single day from fucking Ben & Jerry's and you're going to lose weight and have the body of your dreams. That's not realistic. But to say that you'll never eat ice cream again, well, that would be bullshit too, because I eat ice cream from time to time. I like a donut from time to time too. So this will be a method that you can implement in your day-to-day life that's going to get you the result that you're looking for. But yes, it might be a little bit slower, but the results will come and it'll be the most sustainable approach that you can do as well. So the main thing you need to focus on is don't worry about the calories. Everyone's so worried about the calories, calories. Don't worry about that. It's bullshit. Don't fucking care. Yes, it matters, but not in this instance. As you get further down the line and as you get more into fitness, nutrition, mindsets, etc., calories do matter, but out the gate, don't worry about it so much. What we really need to be paying attention to is the macronutrients. So your macros matter. If you don't know what your macros are, they're your protein, your carbs, and your fats. I'm just writing this down as I go. Protein, carbs, fats. Hopefully this is the right way. I can't really tell, but I guess when I go into post, it hopefully will spin it around because I got front-facing camera on. So maybe this is going to be a fuck up. But anyway, macros matter. That's what we care about right now. The second piece that you need to know about is your desired weight. And excuse my writing, but it sucks. I'm definitely not a wordsmith. Your desired weight is what matters. So let's say in this example, you want to weigh 200 pounds. Because I just want to keep this as simple as I can, right? So your goal is to be 200 pounds. Perfect. Now, when it comes to your macronutrients, you're going to run these numbers in the following sequence. 1.5 for protein, 1 for carbs, and 0.5 for fat. I coach all of my coaching clients through this initially. So 1.5 grams of protein per desired body weight. What that means is you basically take the 200 and you times it by 1.5. In this example, it's going to give you 300 grams a day of protein. That's your protein number. You're going to try and eat 300 grams a day of protein. Your carbs, well, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So this is going to be 200 grams. And then your fat, well, it's a 0.5. So you basically divide it by 2. So you're going to run that at about 100 grams. That would be the macro breakdown that you would follow in this hypothetical example, assuming you wanted to weigh 200 pounds. So every single day, what you will aim to do is hit 300 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 100 grams of fat. Now, if you start paying attention to just those numbers, you're going to start seeing some results. Assuming that you're doing the work, assuming that you guys are turning up and actually tracking correctly, etc. So let's start with the tracking piece, because that's the next like black magic piece that most people struggle with. Download yourself MyFitnessPal. It's a free app. They're going to try and upsell you. You don't need the fucking paid version, although if you want it, it's cool because you don't get the ads and you can use a couple extra features. But if you just want to run the free version for now, that's fine as well. Download the app. And also, I don't get paid by MyFitnessPal to tell you this, so if you don't want to use them and you just want to use a spreadsheet, that's fine too. I did that for a bit. It just gets very clunky and very fucking confusing. MyFitnessPal does the math off the back end. Just be very careful with the things that you track. Look at the back of the label and look at the macros on MyFitnessPal, because it's one of those where people can add their own macros, and a lot of people like to cheat themselves and add the wrong macros and then wonder why they're not seeing results. So when you look at the back of a package, make sure that the macros that you're putting into your MyFitnessPal match. The numbers on the back of each label and the numbers in the app are the same. Once you've done that, or you've downloaded the app, you start inputting your food, and you hit it at 300 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 100 grams of fat. Now you run that play for 2 weeks, and if you're seeing the result that you want to see, which should be about, let's say in this case you want to lose weight, right? You're 250 pounds, you want to weigh 200, so your goal is to lose 50 pounds. You should be losing about a pound a week. If you're losing more than a pound a week, initially straight out the gate, that's not a big deal. You could probably run that for a bit, but if you do it for too long, you could be risking muscle mass, which is a problem because muscle is metabolically active. I'm going to get a little bit sciencey, but I'll try and keep this as high level as I can for you guys. You don't want to lose muscle mass. Muscle mass takes energy to maintain and sustain. So you can flex your bicep, you can't flex fat. Fat just jiggles, so it's not metabolically active. So the easiest way to tell whether something's metabolically active or not is, can you flex it? If you can flex it, you want to keep it. If you can't, you want it gone. So in this case, we're looking at losing about a pound a week. If you've lost 2 pounds a week for a few weeks now, that's probably a little bit too fast. I would look at bumping those numbers between 5 and 10% and continuing to run the play, because I want to preserve as much muscle mass as I can. Like I said, metabolically active tissue, that shit burns calories at rest. So while you're sitting on the sofa, while you're sleeping, it's burning calories to sustain itself. What you don't want to do is be a 250 pound block and then go to being a 200 pound block. So you go from being this big to this big. Like, that's not a win. We're really looking to recomposition the body. We're looking to change the shape of our body. That's going to take having muscle mass and torching fat. Hence the protein numbers nice and high. Right, so let's say it's going the other way, where you're gaining weight. You're 250 pounds and then in 2 weeks from now, you're 255 pounds and the progress photos are not showing you that you're going in the right direction. Well, that's a problem. So that means that the output is not high enough and the intake is too high. So we've got one of two options. We either increase the output, which is the fitness part of this aspect. So we either do more work if you're incapable of doing more work, or you don't know what that more work looks like. Then you watch tomorrow's video or the next video, it'll give you that breakdown. But if your input is too high, then all you do is the same as if it was too low. You just bump the numbers by between 5 and 10% and you keep running that play again. What you should see is about a pound a week. That's a good rate of loss. And then as you get closer to that 200 pound goal, that might even slow down a little bit more to like half a pound a week, because again, at that point, you're going to have a lot of muscle mass on the frame that we're looking to preserve and sustain and maintain. So run that play, edit the numbers accordingly, and you will start seeing some results. Now, the next question that everyone has is, well, Byron, what you don't understand is that sometimes, like on the weekend, I have a blowout, or what happens if I have a cheat meal? Cool. So again, in our trusty little example here, you have 300 grams a day, 200 grams, 100 grams a day, right? So you have an overall of 600. I'm just going to call it an overall for now because it's not really going to work like this and you have to break down the science a little bit more. But basically you just take this times 7, times 7, times 7. So over the course of a week, you have to consume 2100 grams of protein, 1400 of that, and 700 of that. So now what you do is, let's say on a Saturday, you overconsume on these metrics. Well, then all you do is you work on a 7-day moving average. So if your goal is to consume those numbers over 7 days, and on a Saturday you eat 450 grams of protein, fucking 300 grams of carbs, and 200 grams of fat, well, then all you do is for the remaining 6 days of the week, you just offset your numbers by those numbers and you run that for the week. So you'll just basically take, what did I say, 400 or 450 off of the 2100, and then you'll divide that by 6. And that'll give you the remainder of the week's numbers to then offset so that you remain in a deficit and you can still see results. Hopefully that's making sense. Because here's the thing, you can beat yourself up, you can get all worried about it, and you can like get all fanatical about the data and go like, oh, data geek, and that works too. But the issue is that most of us beat ourselves up enough on a daily basis anyway. We don't need any more reason to beat ourselves up. So if you have a blowout day, that's perfectly fine. Track everything. Fucking put it in MyFitnessPal so that you know the damage that you did. And then for the remaining 6 days of the week to come, till the next Saturday, you just offset those numbers so that your 7-day average works out to 2100 grams of protein, 1400 grams of carbs, and 700 grams of fat. If you hit those numbers over a 7-day period, you're on point. Your compliance is technically 100% and you're winning. You will see the results. But if you have that blowout day and then you go back to normal and you just eat normal again, well, now you're actually higher than what you should have been, which again is not a train smash. But if the goal is to be in a deficit, you've now not done that. So you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. And that's when the mind fuckery kicks in, right? Because you're going to be like, oh man, this is just not for me. This doesn't work out, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it does work out. You just don't work for you. That's the issue. So track everything. That's like rule number 1. Once you know your macros and you know what you're doing, if it goes in your mouth, you track it. Like this here is 450 grams of Greek yogurt and 65 grams of granola. Tracked to the nearest gram. Put into MyFitnessPal so I know exactly the damage that I'm doing, and I know exactly how many calories and macros I've taken in and how many I have remaining for the day, etc. You need to get to that level of detail. Yes, it's a pain in the ass weighing out your food, but you know what else is a pain in the ass? Being 250 pounds, morbidly obese and unhappy and feeling like shit, looking like shit, being like disgusted with the man looking back at you in the mirror. I've been that guy. Didn't like it, not even a little bit. So yes, it's a pain in the ass, but a bigger pain in the ass is waddling your way down the road and fucking having to wear a t-shirt at the beach. It's a much bigger pain in the ass. So I choose this kind of pain in the ass because it has me respecting who the fuck I am. And I like the guy looking back in the mirror. And if I have pride in who's looking back, I go for a different energy. So the reason this 3-part series has come about is because I've realized that those 3 things are the pillars or the foundation to everything. If your fitness, your nutrition, and your mindset is not on point, it doesn't matter how good life is going for you, it could be better. Doesn't matter how much money you're making, how wealthy you are, how successful you are, you could be more successful, more wealthy, more healthy, and everything else. Your relationships could be better, and they will be better when your fitness, your nutrition, your mindset, those 3 elements are dialed and you don't fucking miss. Because as soon as one of them is lacking, that lack will show up in other areas of your life. If you're half-assing your nutrition and you're not tracking to the best of your ability, well, that's going to show up in your relationships, or how you manage your kids, or how you manage your team at work, or how you manage your finances. Because that lack of attention to detail will mean you dropping balls in other areas of your life, which is why you're not living to the best of your ability. So start getting granular with that detail. Like I said, I gave you the numbers. Now all you have to do is run the play. All you have to do is download MyFitnessPal, edit your numbers in the back end so that you know exactly what you're doing. When you set up the profile, pay attention, because what MyFitnessPal will do as well is it'll just give you calories. And a lot of people will just track their calories and they'll underconsume protein, and then they go from being 250 pound block to 200 pound block, not the one. So your protein matters. It's important. Pay attention to it. Dial it in. Get granular with the details. Become borderline obsessed. Not to where it's an unhealthy obsession, but a healthy obsession, because you're projecting yourself into the right direction of being lean and jacked and fucking ready for this game called life, and showing up with the right kind of energy. So track your numbers. If you have any questions around this, just shoot me a message on Instagram. My handle will be in the bottom corner, one of these 2 corners. I don't know. I might put in both. Fuck it. Let's just do both. Why not? do what I want. It's my video. So at Byron Ovenstone in the bottom corner, shoot me a message on Instagram if you need some more help with this. More than happy to dial you in and help you get up to speed with what good looks like from a nutrition perspective. And then again, tomorrow tune in, we'll talk about fitness, and on the final of the 3-part series we'll talk a little bit about mindset and why that matters too. But I hope you guys found today's video useful. We'll go back, watch it again, run the math, run the numbers, and like I said, if you're trending in the right direction, keep doing more of what's working. If you're trending in the wrong direction, whether you're gaining weight or losing weight too fast, edit by 5 to 10% in alignment with obviously the goal, and then run that play for another 2 weeks. Don't change it week to week to week. It's too much too fast. You need about a 2-week period. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So don't be changing like that and like wonder, oh my God, why is this not working? Give yourself a chance to see the change. So about a 2-week period before you change and edit things. That'll give you enough time to see how your body's responding. You can see the micro changes in your progress pictures. Oh, that's another piece I forgot to touch on actually. Let me get back to that. Data matters. So jump on the scale. If you can, and you have a tape measure, measure everything as well. And then over and above that, do your progress pictures. Those are 3 metrics that's going to help you as well, because what most people do is they just jump on the scale. And when I first started this, for the first like 90 days or so, I really didn't lose that much weight on the scale. And I was like, shit, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working, until I looked at the side-by-side of the progress pictures. And I was like, oh fuck, I used to look like flabby and disgusting, and now I don't look as flabby and disgusting, and I'm starting to pick up mass in all the right places. So make sure you're tracking multiple data sources. Those 3 are the best 3. Obviously, if you have access to a smart scale where you can do body fat percentage as well, that's even better as well. It's just another data point to keep your eye on. But the more data you can have, the better. So you can start seeing what's working and what's not working, and if you're trending in the right direction. Because for the longest period, the scale's gonna lie to you. It's gonna tell you that shit's not working because you're building muscle and burning fat in almost like a 1-to-1 ratio. So the numbers will be like, oh, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and you're like, fuck, shit's not working. It's working. Side by side, your progress pictures, it's fucking working, especially if you're working. So I hope you found today's video useful. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers for now.